some of us who have now woken up to this knowledge would get offended that a white man would want to come to Africa and teach me as an African my history and tell me my own background and my genesis, as if they know anything about themselves to start with.
In today's show, we were talking about some of the gold mines in the southern region of Africa, which is over 200,000 years old. Our people were mining gold, mining iron, and refining it and making a whole range of products with it over, hundreds of thousands of years ago. And if the truth be told, these people that a lot of our people are idolizing today came out the caves about 6,000 years ago. And when they came out of the caves, they had no language, they had no culture, they had no knowledge of anything at all. They came out on all fours, but they are just so devious and cunning as a people, and with their genocidal maniac ways,
they did not even know how to bath.
Exactly, yes. Even when my parents came to the UK in the 1960s, the people still had to be reminded how to bath. They used to just bathe once a week on a Monday in the kitchen sink, some of them. This is real.
They did not even know how to bath in Europe. When we were building cities in Africa, it will be embarrassing to allow people who come with a Bible and a Caucasian narrative, which is 6,000 years old, as you rightfully put it, and then you want to interpret the history of people who have been here for 200,000, 4.5 million year history that is written all over, and by their own standards, in terms of fossilization and carbon dating. They would go on to say, okay, the skeletons of Ethiopia, the skeletons of Kenya, the skeletons of South Africa are 2.5 million years, what million years. And the other group is saying, no, they are, you cannot write an African history from a European narrative, because there is a kindergarten. It's yesterday. We are thousands of years much older, and we cannot allow a Eurocentric history to begin to interpret the world and ethnographical hegemony and science and knowledge from such an immature interpretation, which has no understanding either of nature, of science, of history, of medicine, and holistic spiritual living, which the European is trying to tell us, because they have written theirs in books and ours is an oral tradition. And now through education, oral tradition is inferior to formal quote unquote education. And I think some of us who have now woken up to this knowledge would get offended that a white man would want to come to Africa and teach me as an African my history and tell me my own background and my genesis, as if they know anything about themselves to start with. So stop talking about black people. Just talk about yourselves. Tell us what you were doing in the mountains of the Caucasus. And tell us how old is your history. Give us your oldest bones from your own mountains, and talk about yourselves. Stop coming to Africa and tell us that Cleopatra was a white woman. Cleopatra was and Pharaoh is a white man. The Hyksos who built the pyramids, they should be white. And then you play into the movie industry and you interpret all these things. You make yourselves as white. Tarzan was a white man. A white child who was trapped in the forests of Africa. Man, for crying out loud, hell no. Hell no. Hell no, you can come to Africa and bring a white little boy called Tarzan and you put him in the Congo jungle and you say there were white people in Africa and a white child was trapped by a gorilla, and gorillas are supposed to be Africans. Who does that? Who does that? Who does that?
Yeah.
How do I come into your house, Janice? How do I come into your house and then I tell you who you are?
Imagine. Yeah, and that's the irony, isn't it, of the movie
It's
industry.
not even irony. You're sanitizing it. It's not irony. This is an insult. This is arrogance. This is abuse. This is academic dishonesty. This is intellectual abuse. It goes against the grain even of education itself, because education is all about facts and knowledge and information. And you come around in the academic space and you insult the very fundamentals of what you call education. If education is about facts, then what is the fact about Africa?
Right. Yes.
As contrasted to the arrogance of your bigotry.